everyone, and welcome back to Per My Last Email. I took a little hiatus, but I'm back. And better than ever. Look at the little cup that I got. Isn't it so cute? It says Per My Last Email with a little mail envelope on it. Isn't it just so cute? Can you see yourself using this cup? Pinky's up, hold on. Put your pinky out. If you like a cup, Per My Last Email specialty mug, let me know. I got you. Anybody that is a supporter of Per My Last Email, anybody who has liked, shared, subscribed to my channel on YouTube, on Facebook, whatever, you need a cup. Per My Last Email, buy it today. Per My Last Email, buy a cup today. Per My Last Email, buy a cup today. Well, I have some very exciting news. Have you noticed anything different about me? Okay, I'll tell you. I passed my project management professionals exam. I passed my project management professionals exam. I am officially a certified project manager. It was one of my goals this year. I took the test last Thursday. I'm on cloud nine. I'm so happy. My goals are coming true one by one from my vision board. Like, this is my most important goal that I wanted to do, and I'm just ecstatic. And I passed on the first try. So if you want tips and tricks on how to pass your PMP exam on the first try, stay tuned. The first tip I have is that you need to study the PMBOK, which is the official PMP guide. They have a lot of books out there that describe it in different ways, but I learned that the test takes literal sentences from the actual PMBOK book. So you need the PMBOK book. The other books are great because the PMBOK on its own is really, it's kind of hard to get into. It's hard to really understand. So what I did is I got the Head First PMP book. I'll link the book in the description below, but I got that book first and I read that first. So once I read that, it kind of explained it in a really generic and easy way, because I tried to read the PMBOK at the very, very beginning. Like, before I even started this whole journey, I was just looking through the PMBOK and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. I was so confused. So I was like, I'm just not gonna take the test. I eventually, decided to take the test, but this time I started with the Head First PMP book versus the actual PMBOK. And they have a lot of books out there like that. They have a PMP for Dummies. I saw a lot of different people have books. We have trains by my house. So first piece of advice, you need to know the PMBOK, period. Plain and simple. So the second piece of advice that I have, a lot of people will be like, well, like, how long am I supposed to study for? How long am I supposed to prepare? I don't think I could give a really good example of that, but one of my friends who took it said that he studied 3 hours every day for 3 months. And I feel like that's pretty accurate. I started studying back in January. I got the Head First PMP book at the end of January, and I read through that between January and February. I read it again between like February, March, April-ish. And then I was like, I'm gonna take this test at the end of July. So I'm gonna take the next 3 months and I'm gonna study. So I ended up getting the PMBOK in May. I ordered it from Amazon. I rented it from Amazon for like $63, and it was a 3-month rental. So I was like, okay, I had 3 months to study this PMBOK. At the end of July, I'm gonna register for my test, because I hadn't even registered. I just said I was gonna take it in July. So I ended up studying the PMBOK, and I was taking a practice test here and there, and I was still failing them. So I was like, yeah, I'm not ready to take this test in July. So it's like August. At the end of August, I'm gonna take this test because I want to pass it before my birthday. And so in August, I did the 3 hours every single day, all through August. I would say 85 to 90% of August, I read at least 3 hours. I took a practice test every single day. I took the weekends off for the most part because I was just tired. But I was really dedicated in August. But I said all that to say, 3 hours-ish for 3 months is about what I did over the course of like 2 months. But you will know when you're ready. This is the third piece of advice. When you can pass a 200 question practice test with about 75-ish%. A lot of people say 80. I never made it to 80. I only did 75 and I still passed. So, but it would have to be like a 200-point test. Because like a 40-point test, you miss 2 questions, you're out of there. But 200 points gives you a little bit of wiggle room so you can miss a bit more. And so definitely take a lot of practice tests. The practice test will give you a true indicator to tell you whether or not you're ready. If you can't pass a practice test, you gotta pass a practice test. You gotta pass a lot of practice tests. And so in August, I took a practice test like every 2 or 3 days just to like track my progress. And I would score 70-ish, 75-ish% every time. One time I scored a 77 though. And when I scored that 77, I was like, oh, I got this. But consistently about 70 to 75% every time. And plus, when you take the practice test while you're still studying, the practice test kind of give you more targeted areas to study. So once you know that you're missing certain questions, you know to go back to those specific sections. Because the PMBOK is huge, like it's a huge book. But because I was taking a lot of practice tests, I was like, well, I keep missing questions about these formulas. I need to go back and study the formulas and memorize the formulas. And so it helps you target your study, because trying to memorize the whole book is impossible. But if you know what questions you miss, you know how to focus on different areas. And even the questions that they ask, you know how to study. Because understanding the way they ask questions is very important to pass the test too. Along that line, I told you I took a lot of 200 question tests. I lied. I took a lot of 100 question tests or 120 question tests. And I really regret not taking up more 200 question tests, because you get 4 hours to take the PMI. And baby, I was tired taking that test. Like by the 2-hour mark, I was like, oh heck no, I'm ready to get out of here. Like my endurance was low. I should have taken more 200 question tests just to prepare me for how long a test is. Like by the time we got to 2 hours on the actual test day, I was like looking around, I was doodling, because I just had my attention span was not together. And you might be thinking, well, I don't need the whole 4 hours. Yes, you do. Use the whole 4 hours. I use the whole 4 hours. Some people don't use the whole 4 hours, but I use the whole 4 hours because it's just like you either use 4 hours of this time now and pass, or use 2 hours, save 2 hours now, potentially fail, and then spend another 100 hours studying again for the test and have to retake it. Like when I took the test, I used all 4 hours, because I was done around maybe 2 hours, 2 hours and 30-minute mark. I was done. But I was like, well, I guess I need to just go through, because I had a lot of questions flagged. And so I started from the end, because like I said, my endurance was terrible. Like towards the end of the test, I was just marking stuff because I couldn't concentrate. So I was like, okay, I finished my test. I went outside, got some water, kind of shook back, did a little dance in the hallway, came back, and then reviewed from the end to the beginning. And I changed a lot of answers when I reread them. I was like, wait, why did I answer it that way? Like that was dumb. Before you take the test, there were some things that I feel like were necessary. I feel like knowing all 49 process areas is a must and in order. So you need to know all the initiating process groups in order, all the scope process groups in order. As soon as I got there, I wrote everything down, wrote all my process groups down. I also knew like some of the major outputs, what process they came out of. So like the stakeholder register comes out of the identify stakeholders process. So I knew, but like really big outputs, I knew which ones they came out of, what process they came out of. I didn't know tools because that's just too much. Like I tried to learn the tools, but I didn't get to the tools. I just got to the outputs. I also knew all of the formulas by heart. So like cost variance, schedule variance, CPI, SPI, all of the EAC formulas, all of that stuff. I knew the communication channel. So like how many communication channels you have based on your stakeholders. I knew all that stuff by heart, and I wrote it down as soon as I got there. And I literally, every time when I was studying in August and I really went hard studying that last month, I would write it down every time I was studying. Like at the end of my studying, I would write down everything that I knew and see how much I had retained. So by the time I got to the test, I was just spitting that stuff out. My whole thing about tests is that I feel like people that make tests want you to know certain things. And so when you go into a test and you see a question on a subject, it's like, what would a test maker want me to know about this subject, kind of thing. If I don't know the answer to a question, I'm like, well, what would the test makers want me to know about this? And I'm just go with that answer choice. Also, if they give you a question and they give you a scenario and they're like, what should you do? Always, always, always check how it's gonna affect the project first. Talk to somebody first. Don't implement it right away. If you see a question that's like, what should you do? Don't do nothing until you analyze how it's gonna affect your projects and submit a change request. Just a word of advice. That'll save you a question or two, because I know they're gonna have a question about that on the test. Every practice test does, so you're welcome. Somebody asked me, is it beneficial to be a PMI member? And I say yes, because literally the cost of the PMI membership is $139 plus the application fee, right? To take the test for a member is, what is it, $405. To take the test for a non-member is $555. If you take the price of a member plus the membership fee, it's $554 versus taking the test as a non-member is $555. So you literally are spending the exact same amount of money if you were to become a member than to not become a member, and you get a free PMBOK, because the PMBOK is like $80 on its own. So I would say be a member, and plus you get to be a member, you get to go to events and stuff, so I don't see why not. It's the same price, except you get more with a membership. I told a lot of people I was taking this test. I told them this was on my vision board, this is what I want to do, this is one of my goals. And people will always ask me, so how's the test? So how are you studying? So how's it going? Are you prepared? Are you ready? Are you scared? Are you ready? Are you prepared? Are you ready? Are you scared? Are you ready? Like, one of my friends would text me like every few weeks, like, okay, how's studying going? She was my accountability partner. And she would text me all the time, like, so how's it going? Are you studying? Are you taking it seriously? You need to be studying. I'm a kind of a prideful person. And so because so many people knew I was taking the test, it made me more motivated to study, because I was like, I cannot fail this test. And when they ask me again, how's the test going? I can't be like, I failed. I can't tell 30 people that I failed this test. Like, that's just gonna crush my heart. And so I told so many people in hopes that I would be too prideful to fail. You know what I mean? Like, I just, and to go along with that, at first I was saying, if I pass this test, I'm gonna be so happy. If I pass this test, I'm gonna turn up. If I pass this test, then I started saying when I pass the test. I feel like your word choice is very important too. And I feel like you have to speak life into your situation. So like, I am gonna pass this test. When I pass this test, I'm gonna do this. And just kind of taking all negativity out of your head. Because even when I was taking the test in the room, I was like, I'm about to fail this test. I'm like, no, you're not. You're gonna pass, you're gonna pass. Like, don't think negative. Only positive thoughts, you're gonna be fine. And I feel like that was really beneficial to me, because when I started to think negative, I was like, I'm just not gonna try anymore. Like, it's no hope. Like, this test is too hard. I can't pass it. It was like, no. You're gonna pass the test. Get back into it. Just try. And it stopped me from giving up. Literally in the test room, literally taking the test, I was like, I'm not gonna pass. Then I had to say, yes, you are gonna pass. Stop saying that. I was literally talking to myself in the room, because I'm crazy. I'm not crazy. I'm just a work in progress. So be positive. Being positive is so important, because I was talking to a friend of mine, and she was telling me how her boyfriend took the PMP and he failed the first time, and all of his friends failed the first time. She was like, so if you fail the first time, it's not even a big deal. And I was like, okay. Ew. So I started to tell myself, well, if I fail the first time, then I have enough time to take it again in December. But I was like, and I tell myself, don't think like that. Like, why are you even saying stuff like that? Don't think you're gonna, like, don't even put that in the air. Like, you're not gonna fail. I know a lot of people who have failed the test, but I also know a lot of people who've passed the test. And so I just had to keep boosting myself, like, you're gonna do fine, you're gonna do fine. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about who failed. Don't worry about, whatever, like, you just passed. Funny story. So when I was taking the test, I had looked over and I saw this girl, she did like this in her chair. So I was like, oh Lord, she did just fail. I'm not gonna pass the test. If she just failed, I'm gonna fail. And then I was like, girl, could you please, like, literally I was getting so annoyed at myself. Like, girl, could you please just stop with all this extra, like, just worry about your own test. Like, stop doing the most. Just take your test. And so when I was about to leave out, I looked back at her again, and she was still taking the test. So I don't know what she was doing. I just assumed she failed. I hope she passed. I passed. So I'm sure she passed too. I said all that to say, if you are looking to pass your PMP test, don't let the people who are like, ooh, child, that's a hard test. Because people kept telling me, ooh, child, that's a hard test, child. I don't know about all that. That's a hard test. Don't let them get into your head. Because if you went to college, you passed college classes, I mean, it's just another test. It's just a test. And even if you do fail, again, it's just a test. You can take it over, not a big deal, but I'm optimistic that if this is one of your major goals, and if you set aside 3 hours every day for at least 2 months, you'll pass. Because you know what you have to do. If you pass practice tests, you can pass the real test. I'm very optimistic that you will do well. If you have any questions, please DM me. Please send me any messages. I'm on LinkedIn, Bria Williams. Look for me, add me, like, subscribe to my channel on Facebook, on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, I gotta follow me. Follow me. Follow me. And yeah, so I wish you all the best. Thank you for tuning in to Per My Last Email. Again, if you want one of these cute little mugs, Per My Last Email, let me know. I will get you set up. Thanks, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.